Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Tracy Westmoreland, and I'm going to be teaching both Intro to American Government and State and Local Politics this semester. So this is a joint introduction and syllabus review for both classes. I think the first thing I want you to know right off the bat is that I get it, pandemic going on, online learning cannot be great at times. And so I don't want this to be the class that you're really stressed about, right? I'm going to give you some occasionally hard readings. I'm going to, expect a decent essay and, some quality work when it comes to the final. But overall, when it comes to the week by week of this class, I don't think it's too difficult, and I'm not overly demanding. And I'll explain exactly what I'm looking for when I go through the syllabus. So I'm not, how do I put this? I'm just trying to say this isn't the class that you're going to be, worrying about 100% of the time, right? I don't want it to be that way, especially with the conditions that we're in right now. So I hope that alleviates some of your concerns going forward. Last semester, I gave away 90% A's and B's. There were literally just a handful of people that just didn't do any work that obviously didn't pass the class. So hopefully, do the work and we'll be just fine. Okay. Introductory classes, I totally get it. Not everyone here is going to go for political science as a major. My whole point is that I want this to be interesting, and I want you to be politically aware because, as we've seen, I think more than ever before that you have to know how all this stuff works. Otherwise, things get really, really messy, right? So I guess I'll talk a little bit myself as well. I'm a graduate from the University of Connecticut. I got my master's degree in political science, and I was actually able to do my own research study, which is quite rare. Usually it's reserved for kind of PhD students. So I was able to do my own research study. I got over 800 people to do a survey which I was trying to link political participation with the amount that people work and then with whether they like their jobs or not. And I got some really interesting results for that. I might be able to sneak some of that into the syllabus, but I don't want to deviate too far from the core of what this class is about. But American politics, local politics, this is literally all I do. This is all I think about. So this is my bread and butter. Pretty much I should be able to answer, I think, any questions that you have that's maybe not directly in the syllabus. And I've also done some work with some local campaigning as well, so I might be able to help with that. And we're going to talk about a good amount of that, especially in the local and state politics class, but also just how hard it is to run for office in general, right? State and federal elections are just so costly, millions and millions of dollars you need in order to actually run for the election. And is that fair? Is that American? Is that democracy? We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. So that's enough about me, I think. I'm sure I can find some other stuff to talk about as the semester goes on. And if you have any questions about how I ended up where I am, feel free to just shoot me an email or ask me in your introductions, which I will talk about in just a minute. I'm just going to have you guys do some short video introductions. But before we do that, let's go over the syllabus just a bit. So if you got your syllabus out, I already kind of went over the course overview. Class time, right? This is probably what most of you guys are curious about. We have a lot of people in both these classes, and for anyone that has tried doing Zoom with more than 15 or so people, it is an absolute mess. I don't like it. I don't think anyone really likes it. So instead, we're going to be mostly using Flipgrid. Hopefully, maybe some of you have some familiarity with it, but it's not very complicated at all. It's just a video posting website made by Google, and I'm going to have you guys post videos, and then you guys are going to respond to each other, and I'm going to respond to you. And this really replicates our in-class discussion, because one of the big things I like to do in class is lecture less and let you guys communicate with me and each other more. And that's how we really get to the creativity, right? The critical thinking. Me just talking for 50 minutes is incredibly boring. But of course, I will be posting a fair amount of lecture content for those. I mean, I highly recommend that you watch the lectures. But the number one thing is the readings. The number one thing is the communication between you and me and your peers. Honestly, every year I get, people are very happy with the way that I teach this class for the most part. I honestly think that you get a lot more out of this form of learning. Again, we've all had those teachers that lecture for like an hour and a half, and your brain is just numb and dead at the end, and that's not what I want this to be, right? So class time, it's going to be mostly asynchronous. We're not going to have a set meeting time for the most part. We are going to use the Flipgrid as a video posting, and occasionally I will give you quite a bit of time in advance, but we will occasionally have an all hands on deck class meeting just to go over some basic stuff, make sure we didn't miss anything. Probably, I'm thinking maybe like 4 or 5 times during the semester, just to make sure we're all on track. And that goes for both classes, both American politics and local and state politics. The syllabi actually are exactly the same for both classes except for the reading. So everything is applicable for both classes. Okay. So hopefully that works for everyone. This should be a lot better for most people because the class times are a little ridiculous. 10 a.m. 3 times a week for one, and then a 2.5 hour class for the other one. Those are no, I'm not. I wasn't too happy with that. So this should make everyone's lives easier. And of course, if you guys need me during office hours, you can just let me know during what we would usually have class times, or I'm pretty much always available. I'm just really teaching online right now, so just shoot me an email, let me know if you need me, and I can carve out some time. Okay. Text. No required textbook. Anything that is in the syllabus is going to be provided by me, and it's going to be put on Blackboard, easily accessible, or mostly it's going to be links, or I'm going to ask you to search on Google Scholar. Everyone should be familiar with Google Scholar, hopefully. If you're not, I will go over it, but it's usually you can just access it from the school library website. It's usually under databases. You click Google Scholar, you just type in whatever's in the syllabus, and it should pop up for free. You should be able to just click the link and it should open. If there are any issues with that, let me know. I have not really used this library website yet, but honestly, right after this, I'm going to go and find out how exactly you can access, and I'll set up step by step. But for the most part, the syllabus is just links to different articles that I find are interesting, and I'll get those creative juices flowing and start the conversation. So there shouldn't be an issue with the readings. You don't have to buy anything. If there is some textbook chapters that I want to assign, I will put it on Blackboard. The syllabus is tentative. I just want to make that clear. This is an incredibly interesting time to be an American. Things are happening every day that are interesting and we might want to talk about. So I just want to make it clear that I probably will change things quite a bit as the time goes on. I'm always going to give you at least a week in advance to read the reading. So I'll never change it any earlier, or any later than that. Always a week. But I just want to make you aware that there's always going to be new stuff coming up. I always find new articles that are better than the old ones that are in the syllabus, so it might change. Okay, so that's it for class time. That's it for text. Course requirements. Okay. This is, again, I think this is a super simple class. I don't expect too many questions about this, but we're essentially just going to have, starting on week 2, 3 to 4 people that are going to be discussion leaders. I'm sure most of you guys have had some sort of similar format in the past. You guys are going to be doing a longer video, 5-minute plus video or so. And I know 5 minutes sounds intimidating, but once you get into these readings and you get talking, you realize it goes by like that. We usually have, the maximum Flipgrid is 10 minutes, but we usually have 7, 8, 9-minute videos almost every week from for most people. It goes by really quick, so do not be intimidated by 5 minutes. But anyway, discussion leaders, you're going to post these longer videos, and then everyone else is going to respond to whoever you want, whatever discussion leader you want to respond to. If you thought, for example, Mike's was really good, respond to Mike's. And you're going to do, everyone that's not a discussion leader is going to do 2 response posts. Okay? It's super, super simple. It's explained in the syllabus as clearly as I possibly can. But again, I'll just reiterate, 3 to 4 people each week are assigned. They do a longer video, and then everyone else responds to them. The discussion leaders also have to do an additional 2 responses, short responses, to anybody that they want to do. So again, if Mike posts a discussion leader video, Amy responds to Mike twice, and then Mike can respond to whoever he wants. He doesn't have to respond to Amy, he could respond to whoever he wants, right? At least 2 short videos. I think that's super clear, but if there's any questions, just email me. Discussion leaders, everyone else does 2 response posts, okay? That's the participation. It's super simple. That's the core of this class. If you come, most weeks, and you do all your videos, and it's clear that you've done the readings, and you make good points, and you argue a little bit, or at least somehow try to contribute to the discussion, that's all I'm looking for. Not too complicated. Camera is optional. I would love to see your guys' faces, but I understand if you're hungover on a Sunday morning and you don't want to show the, whatever's going on over there. I get it. You can turn the camera off. It's all good. So participation, super simple. Essay, 3 to 5 page essay. relating to political science. It doesn't necessarily even have to be local and state government. It doesn't necessarily have to be American politics. As long as it relates to politics somehow, I'm interested. I like creativity. I have to read so many of these each semester, and so the more unique you can make it, the more anything out of the box I like to hear. That's interesting. Going to instantly get my attention, and that's my favorite stuff to read. So definitely creativity is 100% rewarded. For example, in my international relations class last year, my favorite paper was Thanos's use of power in an anarchical and in a system of anarchy. Right? That's awesome. I love to hear that kind of stuff. So if you want to tie it into movies, music, whatever, the only requirement is that you tell me beforehand, just to make sure that I know that it can work. But I rarely ever have any ideas that I say no to. So really open-ended for you guys on this one, right? For essays, 100% towards the end of the semester, please send me a draft. Please send me a draft. There are often times when I have like these great ideas that people send to me, and then they don't send me a draft. I'm like every week I'm like, send me a draft. I really want to just check this first before you fully turn it in, right? And they don't send it to me, and it ends up being a C paper when it could have easily been an A. So please send me a draft towards the end of the semester. It only helps you. I'm going to give you constructive criticism. I really like, I spend a lot of time on these papers just to make sure that, I can help you improve your writing, help you convey your ideas. That's something that's going to, be important for the rest of your life. So essays important. It's very open-ended. Send me a draft to make sure that I can, that I think it's at its maximum potential. Okay. And last thing in the syllabus, final take-home exam. I'm going to give this to you 2, maybe 3 weeks before the end of the semester. You're going to have plenty of time to answer these questions. It's 5 questions. Going to be very similar to the discussion leader questions that are in the syllabus, which I'll talk about again in just a sec. And yes, you're going to have plenty of time. It's going to be, if you don't wait till the last minute, it's going to be the easiest finals you ever take. 2 to 3 paragraphs for each question. It's really not that big of a deal. Again, if you show up and you're at least somewhat aware of what's going on, final should be a breeze for you. Okay. All right. And then lastly, how do I grade this? Well, I get it. Not everyone's a great test taker. Not everyone loves public speaking. And then not everyone is a fantastic essay writer. Although I do think from my past experience, almost anyone can write a good essay. You just need to understand some basic principles. So I'm definitely going to, if you send me a draft with an essay and it's, maybe a C, we're going to figure out how to make it an A. So don't worry about that. But I get it. Sometimes you slip up and stuff like that. So whatever part is your best grade out of participation, out of essay, out of final, that's 50% of your grade. So if you get 100 on the final, you automatically get, 50% of your grade is an A, right? So really, obviously I don't condone this, but you could easily get like C's and D's and everything else, and you can still pass the class just barely, but I don't recommend that at all. But yes, so the other 2 part will make up 25% of your grade. So a much smaller part. So if you do really badly on say the essay, somehow you didn't send me a draft and it's not very good, it won't completely tank your grade. I think this is very fair. Most teachers that I know do not do this system. I don't know why. I think it's an excellent grading system, and most people really appreciate the fact that they have a little leeway. So I think this is super straightforward. There shouldn't be any questions on this. 50% of your grade is your best component. My recommendation is obviously come every week with your videos, send me a draft for the essay, and start the final, at least a week early. You should get an A. You know what I mean? Just do the basic requirements and come and be ready to talk, and you'll get an A. This is probably going to be really, honestly, one of the easiest A's if you do the work. Okay. Oh, and of course I have to mention this because the very first semester I did this, there are obviously people that complained that they didn't either do their final or do their essay, and then I gave them a 0 because this grading system is not meant for you to skip things. That's not what I want. You cannot skip all the participation. If you do less than, I would say, half of the classes, I don't see any videos, that's an F. Like, you're not going to pass the class. Okay. So you must do all the course requirements. So that means doing the videos most of the time, handing in an essay, and handing in the final. You have to do all 3 of these things. Otherwise, you will not pass the class. Every year I get someone that skips on, at least one person that skips on one thing, and they're confused why I failed them, and it's right here in the syllabus. You cannot skip a component. You have to do everything, okay? That's just to make it fair for everyone. All right, late assignments, if you're gonna be late, email me beforehand or as soon as you can. If I get an email 3 weeks later and it's like, I was in a car accident, I'm just like, I get it. Car accident. That's a bit extreme, right? Like if you email me 3 weeks later, but if you email me 3 weeks later with no excuse and just saying, it shit happened, I'm not going to accept it. So if you're going to be late, let me know ASAP. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, and then lastly, just going to briefly talk about the discussion leader questions that what we're going to do for this first week. Okay, the first 3 weeks for American politics and local and state government. I should say U.S. government and local and state government are going to be exactly the same because we have to talk about federalism first and what federalism is. So if you're in both classes, those first 3 weeks will be the same. I'm sorry if that's going to be boring for you. I haven't checked if there's too much crossover between the two classes and students, but also it'll make your life easier for those first 3 weeks. But the first 3 weeks have to be the same essentially because we have to go over the basics first. So if you have your syllabus out the very first week, this week right now, by Sunday, I just want you to post to the Flipgrid, make sure it works. You have to log in with your student email, with the SUNY email, and just post a video with your name, your major, fun fact about yourself. And then I also just want you to post your definition of what politics or political is and what it means to be an American. And also by Sunday, if you could just watch this very short video just about people talking about their American experience and this very short article about what does it mean to be American. You can skim it, but there's some interesting points in it. It should only take you maybe 5 minutes to read. So by Sunday, it'd be great if you could post this introduction and what you think being American is and what politics is. And then next week is really the beginning of this class, and I'm just going to give you the example for the discussion leader question for week 2. Do you think the federal government has too much power in its current state? Why or why not? If you could give or take away one thing the federal government is in charge of, what would it be and why? So for discussion leaders that week, discussion leaders just give a short summary of what the readings were about, and then you can answer this question directly, or you can kind of go on a little tangent as long as it relates to the readings and what we're talking about for that week. And just give us your thoughts on the readings in general. Did you think these were interesting? Did you think these were fun? Did they make good points? Stuff like that, stuff to get the conversation going, because again, the key to this whole class is conversation, being able to talk with someone, being able to argue with them a little bit if you want to. And so so you can stick to the script or you can deviate, whatever you guys want to do, as long as it is relevant. I think that's almost everything. Any other questions, let me know. I am going to give you guys the opportunity to pick which week you want to present on, which week you want to do your discussion leader. So like 3 to 4 for each, probably going to be 3 for each week. So I would recommend that you send me your preference and then a backup through email with which week you want to do. And also if you go through the syllabus, I just want to make it clear that for some of them, I haven't put a discussion leader question yet because I still want to tweak it. And some weeks don't have readings in there yet because I want to save that for stuff that I know that's going to come up with a new administration that's going to bring up new topics. So again, the reading list is tentative. It almost definitely will change for both classes, at least a little bit, and I'll give you enough time to make sure that you get it done. There's not a lot of reading for this class, to be honest. So maybe 20, maybe 30 pages a week tops. That's where I limit it. So again, the workload for this class, it's pretty moderate. I don't want this to be the one you stress about. If you have any questions, let me know. I want this to be more than anything else. I want this to be at least a little fun. I want you to learn about something that interests you, and I want you to be able to at least think about how you can apply this in real life, and what the status of this country is, and how do we make it better. That's really all it's about. Okay. All right, I think that's enough for me. I'm going to post this video onto Flipgrid. I'm going to give you guys the link to Flipgrid, and that'll be it for me. And we'll get started next week, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all and hearing your introductions. All right, have a good one.